Holy, 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 I want to see you. Hey guys, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Sorry, I'm trying to get to not yesterday, Friday's show. I apologize for Saturday's show, which was a bit of a flub up. That my phone ran out of batteries, but at like 30%, so it was really weird. It just kind of died. So I'm just gonna ignore that one. Jump back to Friday's episode for our questions, comments, yada yada yada. I don't even know if we had any. Oh, we do. Oh my gosh, we had 24 comments. That's a lot. The truth offense. Today is the truth offense episode. Let me jump over, say hello to he who's here. Oops, and mute that. How's my mic sounding? Because I have been having a few issues with my mic. I didn't like the way it sounded. Maybe I'm not getting close enough to it. Hold on a second, if you would. I am doing cross-examinations. You will not be making noise in front of my door.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody go get Daddy's belt. Anyways, hey, Perkindo, sounds a bit muffled. Does it really? Even if I'm here, it sounds muffled. Is this true? Also, hi. Hello, everyone. I got the reminder notification. Yay, it worked perfectly. Fantastic. Yeah, I was hoping that... Come on. Can I just do cross-examinations, please, without interruption?
Like a drug dealer.
Why? Have you ever seen the Jaffe memo? No, I have not. Sounds clear to me. Good, good, good. Well, everybody, thanks for being here. Wow, some of you actually popped in at 1:26, and you've been waiting here for a good long time. Where are all the white women at? I've come to stream with you again. You got shut down by the sound of silence. It's deafening. Sipping coffee. Late for a very important date. Oh my gosh, do you really have to do that now? I just started cross-examinations. You know she's not going to be able to stop from laughing. That video is too freaking funny. My son is working on a video for, what's the song?
Separate Ways.
Separate Ways, but he's redubbed the whole thing.
There's no music.
And it's so funny. I can't wait for him to finish it and launch it. And then he's going to do it on his own channel. I will put the link whenever it's ready. So anyways, got notified, got notification. Hey, Mike. Hey, everybody. Well, I'm glad the notifications are working. Yeah, I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted that I was hoping, like, taking the day off of streaming and then just doing that upload, it might, I don't know, rejigger some things with YouTube. So I was just hoping that worked, and it sounds like some of you got the notifications. So yeah, there's 48 people watching now. We're back to normal, I do believe. Catholic Rob, don't you love the light rain, Mike? I do love the rain, which is why I left Portland, because, well, A, I felt God called us to leave, but B, I'd rather love and miss the rain than love and miss the sun. And when you live in Portland and you're living in the rain, you really miss the sun and its warm, life-giving rays. Just hit reload here and there. All right, let's go to the, wait, that mic has a polarity pattern shaped like a tennis ball at the front. If it's too low or far away, it will get muffled. So if I raise it like this, do I sound better? It's weird talking into a giant snowball. Model said, I didn't get the notification. The Lord told me you were on. Oh, that's great. The 90s are alive in Portland. Well, there's 57 watching now, but as always, please do hit the like button, hit that share button. Let's get more people in here. Anyways, even if they did get the notifications, it'd be better to have more people in here. Look at her. She's having a conniption fit. That's how funny this video is. She's like doubled over, trying not to laugh out loud because she knows I'm on right now. Elijah, close your mouth on YouTube. Watching on my phone from a hospital bed in the UK. Oh, got the notification. Got the notification. Oh, actually, I already shared. What's the video? Okay, my son did a redub of. I keep forgetting the name of the song. What is it?
Separate Ways.
Separate Ways. You know. You. And it's bloody hilarious. Even his sister, who hates everything he does, laughed hysterically. All right. So let's get to the last episode's questions. Brennan Pitt says I look like a fangirl. All right, we'll pass that one. Faust says Mike's going to scare Ben away with his fangirling. All right, we'll skip that one too. I don't think really that doesn't need any commentary. I don't think I was fangirling, but whatever. O'Sheen says, love you, Mike, as much as people might complain about the delay. The fact that you're already working on book 2 of Lone Star shows that how confident you are in what you have created and what you have planned for the future. P.S. You're a complete fangirl of Ben Shapiro. I could have skipped that one too. Wonder Girl says, I didn't get a notification either. God bless you, Mike, and your beautiful wife. I'm glad you had a great trip meeting Ben and I made it home safe and sound. Hope you all have a great weekend. We did have a great weekend. Except for Sunday. This one had a stomach ache and I had a headache, so we had to skip out on church. Yeah, plus my wife wasn't here, so I couldn't just leave. Leave. Anyways, don't worry about all that. Nathan says, if you want to see true racism surface in America, then wait until a Jewish Republican runs for president. That's when all the anti-Semites will crawl out of the woodwork. I don't put much stock in IQ tests since they were originally designed as part of the eugenics movement. The intent was that people who scored highly would be allowed to have children, and anyone who scored too low would be discouraged from breeding or forcibly sterilized. Well, IQ tests, all they seem to measure is your ability to problem solve, to see patterns and see where patterns require, or see the solutions to patterns in things that you know, obviously the harder the pattern is to figure out, and the smarter you have to be, essentially. The higher your IQ has to be. Now, yeah, I mean, I don't need to get on all that. I don't put total stock and faith in IQ tests, but that said, people who are able to, you know, figure out how to solve problems, they're generally smarter people. Those are the people with the higher IQs. So I don't dismiss it out of hand, but I don't put all that much stock into it anyway. So Demon Vizirac, I will check out the USSR and China for the atheist model. Thanks for answering my questions, and really cool you met Ben Shapiro. I like having these chats with people. A friendly atheist. Nice. Our friendly neighborhood atheist, as I call Demon Vizirac. So yeah, I had this topic in mind, and this isn't fangirling, but Ben Shapiro did say that he wanted to come on at some point for cross-examinations when he had time. And so I kind of prefaced, or I'm kind of saving this topic for when he's on, because it's something I'd like to discuss with him, because he's very well versed in the Tanakh, in the Old Testament, and in all so many other Jewish writings. But the topic I want to discuss with him, for not just you, Demon Vizrak, but for all atheist agnostics, is the practical, how did I phrase it? I don't have my phone. I don't remember what my text said, but sort of the practical application of biblical principles for the non-believer. Because I think that I can't think of any doctrine or law or whatever that don't have valuable practical applications, even to a person who is not of faith. Gosh, I am shaking the crap. How is this shaking the camera so much? I feel like I'm in an earthquake. Sorry, my son was on my desk eating yogurt with his hands, and so I have to clean the dried yogurt off. Sorry, I do apologize. Back to Masterpiece Theater. That was the funniest video. I've watched it like 5 times, 6 times now. I watched it with my wife last night. We were just rolling. For those who have not seen Masterpiece Theater, do go check out the other videos. It is some of the funniest YouTube. Anyways, Comics Exposed says, way to go, Mike. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Perkindo says, what the heck? I'm not getting notifications for the live streams until after they are over and they are posted as regular videos. I just got a notification that this was live, but it was streamed 80 minutes ago. Angry face. Okay, and then this is a bunch of responses to that. I'm going to skip the responses. Squisher. He says, Shapiro is a pro-war neocon. Beware of wolves in sheep's clothing. I'm just going to read it for the sake of freedom of speech. You get your moment in the sun, Squisher. But I'm pretty well aware. I watch a lot of Shapiro, so I'm pretty aware of his positions on stuff. And granted, I don't share 100% of his positions, but I don't share 100% of anybody's positions. I'm my own man. I think most of us, it's very hard for any given two people, regardless of their political leanings, to agree on everything, right? I mean, we all have our own life experiences and our own conclusions based off of what we've gone through. So, yeah. Ronald Reagan said, if someone agrees with you on 80%, they're not an enemy, they're an ally. I probably agree with Shapiro on, I don't know, if I had to throw a number at it, probably 95% of stuff. Politically, anyways. And 99% of stuff religiously, although that 1% is very, very important. That's the who is the Messiah percent. But whatever. Blacklist Universe, thank you for responding. Oh, how tall are you? I am just shy of 5'7", 5'6"3/4. So I do round up. 77 people in here now. Please, again, do Elijah, homework first. Train of thought derailed. 76 viewers in here. Please do like and share, and let's get some more people in here. I hope my sound is good. I'm no longer muffled, am I? Am I speaking into the right spot on the snowball? Yeah, I noticed on the other videos I sounded sort of distant and whatnot. But it would be very difficult for me to do this pop right here into this here machine and work at the same time, unless I get one of those hanging hooky snowbally thingies. But all right, let's pop out the chat. The truth offense. The truth offense. I was listening to J. Vernon McGee this morning. J. Vernon McGee. I don't know how many of you know who that is, but he was a great Bible teacher. He's on the radio all the time. They still play his stuff from back in the day. And he was touching on Philippians 3. And there was a scripture in there referring to being blameless. And blameless, the way he was describing it, and as an essential truth, it means not being hypocritical. So, you know, you espouse a certain set of beliefs, live by that set of beliefs, and Philippians 3, I just sat down and read through it with my wife. It is most of what that chapter is about. Is you set your mind and your heart towards Christ, towards righteousness, and then and you follow that path, and don't be hypocritical about it. Don't proclaim that you believe thus, and thus, and then live contrary to that. And there is some condemnation of that type of lifestyle in that chapter. But the thing he was focusing on was the difference between being blameless or hypocritical and being offensive. Because it is impossible not to offend people. If you hold any position of truth and you vocalize your belief, you will offend someone who doesn't believe the same as you do. It is just the nature of taking a stand. It doesn't matter if it's politically or, heck, historically. You could believe something wrong or different about someone historically. State what you believe, and if they disagree with you, then it is an offense. It may not be like totally like offensive, like you're saying that, you know, Muhammad is the Antichrist or something like that. I can state that and offend, you know, 1.7 billion people on the planet to the point where they might want to come and chop my head off. But that is the thing. It's like if you believe in the Word of God, if you believe in the Holy Scriptures, they were God-breathed. They are literal, as in literally God-breathed, right? Obviously, there's poetic writing, there's metaphorical writing, there are parables and proverbs and whatnot. But if you literally believe these were breathed by God's own breath, right, through prophets and apostles who had written these down for our benefit, and they have been perfectly maintained, and you can trust what they say, as I do. Then when you get to certain scriptures, all right, let's go through. What on earth was I talking about? Does anybody remember what I was talking about? Oh, the truth being an offense. Yeah, so I could state anything from the Bible that doesn't jibe with today's leftist ethic, and it's going to offend a certain group of people. So that's just the truth of belief. So yeah, and what is it? It's getting so bad now that people think that disagreeing with them is violence, and it's crazy, isn't it? It is crazy. It is crazy. So anyways, let's go and see where some people are asking some questions. This is going to end up being, all right. What time do we start here now? And Christ Energetic says, next time you're off stream, do a mic check recording to GarageBand or Audacity or any. All right. Oh, Nikki Harris, Mike, before you start the show, don't you think? Dawn, you think you'll do a show on the Nephilim? I think I've already done a show on the Nephilim, but I'd love to do another one. It's been a while. So we are on like the 52nd something episode. Man, we've done quite a few of these. So yeah, I'd like we can jump back in and do a good Genesis chapter 6 study. I unclicked and reclicked the bell, now getting notifications. Yeah, so everybody please do unclick and reclick and make sure your bell notifications are set to always, not to sometimes. If you would, thank you. Had bad Crohn's flare-up, got diagnosed the other month, and will need surgery at a later date. Nikki, ooh, no. You know what? There is, what is it called? There's a book out there. I think it's called Patient Heal Thyself. That will show you how to cure yourself of Crohn's disease. Check it out if you think it's worth trying. Give it a shot, because this guy had Crohn's and then he got completely healthy. And so do check that out. Patient Heal Thyself, I believe, is the title. Hashtag MeToots, says Jabba the Cuck. Yay, Bitcoin, hodl forever. Yeah, it's been brutal. It's been brutal lately. It would be a great time to invest, but I'm just hodling everything I got. And it's not in Bitcoin, actually. Why do you have to keep coming in here, Micah? Micah. Homework. Go do your homework. I don't want to see you again until it's done. Actually got the notification this time. Says Twisted Trickster. Fantastic. Burkindo. Oh man, that's a tough one. Yeah. Thanks. Crash Energetics. I got a notification this time after 2 days of late and missing notifications. Nighthawk Warrior. What is Cross Examinations? Cross Examinations is a show where I talk about faith, about the Bible, about history, about I don't know, sometimes we get a little political. It is primarily an apologetics show where believers and non-believers alike can come ask me questions, and I will do my best to give a reasoned, logical answer. Now I have to close the door. Locked. Locked through the heart. It's 2:20. Oh yeah, it's almost time for JoJo. Elric says, but if IQ test so-called determines your ability to problem solve, but even if you're not as smart as others, you can still problem solve things others can't. But I think that's a given. Yeah, but IQ tests are timed, so it's your ability to problem solve, and it doesn't determine, it just measures your ability to problem solve in a certain amount of time. So whereas, you know, I might be able to figure out the Rubik's Cube in a half an hour if I have the right information, but someone else might be able to you know, well, actually, that's not IQ. That's just memorizing the algorithms. That's a bad example. Sorry. Anyways, it's not important. Dragon of the Black Pool. I like that. I'm not a believer, but I'm glad I was raised Christian. Well, I hope you come back to the faith, Dragon. The true faith, not some religion, just a true faith. Inga. Elijah. You're going to have to edit this video so much because this is like non-stop interruptions today. This is why I like to try to get up before everyone else to do cross-examinations. Because it's Grand Central Station up in here. So annoying. Hashtag MeToots. Hashtag MeToots. All right, for those who don't know what MeToots is, you have to go watch Masterpiece Theater. Hey guys, just got here. Did I miss anything? No, not really. If you did, you can go back and watch this. My son is going to download this. I'm gonna set it to private after the show. My son's going to download it, edit out some stuff, and then re-upload it ex post facto. So you can go watch the re-upload without all these interruptions. Hikaru says that was totally one of your best streams. I know, it was so funny, man. And I gotta thank Ethan because he's the one that made it so funny. Yeah, that's, you know what? That's why Ethan has 92,000 subs and I've got 4,000. So I understand. He's a natural at this, whereas I am just me. I can sing a little bit, but that's about it, and I hope you understand. I'm getting notifications, says Uncanny Kodiak. That's fantastic. Pegasus Meteorite saw the live stream up. Rock on. Mr. Bracy 100 says Masterpiece Theater was absolutely brilliant. Man, I laughed so hard. I laugh every time I watch it. I've watched it 5 or 6 times now, and it's like honest humor. You know, it's not. You ever watch a movie and like you just laughing hysterically the first time you see it, but then the second time you see it, you don't laugh at all because all of the jokes were shock value jokes. You know, they were jump scares, right? And you know the jump scare is coming, you're not scared of it anymore, but they're like jump scare humor, right? Like there's no way you expected this thing to happen and then it happens. But man, I laugh every single time I watch Masterpiece Theater. It is just the funniest flippin' video. I'll probably watch it again today. Retro then, oh wait. Ethan is very good at doing voices. He is. Man, I could totally listen to an audiobook by Ethan. It would be great. I saw a purple flower and I touched it. You know what the funny, oh man, this is so not, all right, I'm just gonna go a little long on this show so that this stuff can be edited out. Well, I don't know if it's gonna be edited. That was edited. Masterpiece Theater was edited by an editor because I told Nasser, like, hey, why don't you send me something else, you know, we can read. And he sends me this short thing, and he sends me the with all the editor's notes, and I'm like, dude, send me something that's not edited. And he's like, who or where am I was edited. I'm like, no, that was edited. That was edited, and it was still that much stuff to make fun of. Oh man, we need raw, pure Nasser. No editing. This is what we need for the next episode of Masterpiece Theater. All right. Bar Dukin says, what does it mean to honor your parents? It's a very, very good question. Honoring your parents means, well, honor. You put their, my son is banging away on the piano and is totally distracting my train of thought. Honor means not to bring shame. Well, I'm coming from a Japanese perspective. So to honor means to make sure that nothing you do brings shame to your parents or the way they raised you. Right? You don't disrespect them. You don't disobey them unless they are telling you to do something that is contrary to God's word. right? Yeah, I don't know how else to say it. I think that kind of boils it down. If you'd like me to tear into any particular part of that, just let me know. Perkindo, Nasser was a really good sport about everything, I thought. I mean, it had to be tough on him. Oh, Nasser's a great sport. And the thing, he talks to me in DMs all the time. And he's like, I'm so excited that I got you and Ethan to read my stuff. So he is loving this. He is loving this. And he's like, he put out a thing. He said, you know, if he could get 100 retweets, we'll do a second episode of Nasser Theater. And he's the one promoting it. He wants to do another one. So, yeah, I have to thank Nasser for being such a good sport. He's a great kid. And we will whip him into shape as a writer. He's got the drive. And he does have a raw talent. Don't tell him I said so. But he does have a raw talent that just needs to be shaped and guided into you know, being the next Alan Moore or whatever. He will be great someday. I have no doubt. We just have to get him there. He's only 21. Give him some time. I sucked at 21, so. Nasser Beast Theater was pretty funny. And what is Shapiro's stance on unicorns? I don't want to ruin the relationship this early. And if he holds to the Doug TenNapel stance on unicorn, I'm afraid I would just have to cut him off. So yeah, we'll have to see. Catholic Rob says Ben Shapiro gets it wrong too, people. A lawyer ripped him last week about the law. Yeah, nobody's perfect. No one's perfect. No one is elevating Ben Shapiro to the status of seer or prophet. He's just a very smart guy with a very fast mind who is very, very well educated. So, but that doesn't make him impervious to mistakes. He was wrong about Trump. I was right about Trump. Just saying. Uncanny Kodiak. That's what makes SJWs so bad. The silencing of things we don't see. Okay, let's try to get back on track here. This is a faith-based show. So, for Kendo, that's actually a very great point. I was always taught that if two people always agree on everything, one of them is probably telling a lie. Right? Right? One of them's probably going along to get along. Oh gosh, I did not miss homework. I do not miss homework. Okay. We're almost the same height. 5'7". Unicorns in the Bible was actually referring to rhinos. Look up the word origin, says Enigma Seeker. And that is my very strong position. Unicorns were some breed of rhinoceros. I think they were the Siberian woolly rhino. It just makes sense, although we still today have the unicorn rhinoceros. It's just not as big as the Siberian woolly rhino, and the one in Job is described as not being able to be bridled or controlled, and that woolly rhino was a 3-ton monster. So I don't think you would have wanted to try to throw a bridle around that sucker. Plus, that is the woolly unicorn. The woolly rhino is pretty much exactly what Marco Polo described as a unicorn. I'm not going to go through it right now. I did do a unicorn stream. Oh wait, was that on the unicorn stream? Yeah, our unicorn stream. Are unicorns real? Cross-examination. Oh gosh, was that even a cross-examinations? I think it was. Yeah, go back and check that one out if you want to get a deeper dive on that one. Go into settings on computer sounds and change the levels control panel. To what? You need to set up like Doug's. Oh. Yeah. The wisest people realize they do not know everything. Random fortune cookie. That is correct, Dragon. The more you know, the more you know you don't know. The more you know, the less you know? Maybe? Something like that. Just Henry says, stop ruining the fun of unicorns. Hey, you know what? There's fantasy unicorns and there's real life unicorns. Nobody is saying that you can't have fun with a horse with a horn on its head. Go for it. Have fun. They're beautiful fantasy creatures. But in real life, unicorns were either rhinos or woolly rhinos or both. I mean, the word for rhino today scientifically is unicornus. It's literally the word unicorn. So I don't get the confusion there. Oh, come on. Enigma Seeker says, sorry, I thought you were a stupid atheist. Don't say that. Don't say that. Enigma Seeker says, Muhammad did not see an angel, but a jinn. Big difference. Read the hadiths. Jinns are demons. Demons are angels. So, what is the difference? Drag cool dang, I pointed out bugging me too. Joseph Meager, LOL, Catholic Rob, love Mike's kids. Adorable. The church stated as an oral religion. No. The church stated as an oral religion. No. That is, Joseph, could you reword that question? Start over, Mike. Keep rolling. Okay, I see where we were. Sorry, sorry I'm so behind in the chat. That's just kind of how I do things when I have to answer questions. Oh my gosh, we are way. Kill the stream, delete it, and restart. Disagreement, you're welcome. Go for it, dude. Enigma Seeker, hope you got a chance to see some of my biblical Enigma videos. I hope it triggers you, LOL. I watched the first one you sent, and it was, yeah, some good interesting information. I would send it to me again because it gets lost in everything I'm doing. But that the whole Fertile Valley Eden location of Eden thing, it does make a lot of sense. Although my curiosity is the changing of the land after the flood. Would it or would it not have made all of that stuff moot? And were or were not he's positing that the source of the four rivers that grants you the location of where the Garden of Eden was the River Nile. And I'm of the mind that the topography of the earth was changed so vastly during and after the flood and after the days of Peleg, when the earth was broken up, that people may have simply named rivers after rivers they had previously been familiar with. Like Noah may have named these rivers, or someone may have named them because they knew the story of the Garden of Eden and where it was located, and so they renamed certain rivers after rivers that had existed earlier in some different locations. So honestly, we have no idea where the Garden of Eden would have been if what I believe is true. Because I do hold to a flood model. I don't hold to, see, they're trying to backtrack the naming of rivers and whatnot to like Mesopotamia. They're trying to backtrack it from, they seem to be kind of ignoring the flood. Anyways, you guys would have to go watch that video. I'm getting too deep into the weeds on this. It's very sad that YouTube will strike you for that. That is what we need more of in this planet. It was even playful and loving. As a dad of 5, yeah, you are now. Yeah, Uncanny Kodiak. The reason I'm paranoid about that is I don't want to lose my channel. My sons were live streaming on their channel, and they were just wrestling two, tween boys. Well, Mike was like 10. Isaac was 12. Oh, Isaac was 11. So 10, 11. A 10 and 11-year-old boy were just wrestling the way any 10 and 11-year-old boy on the planet has throughout all of eternity. And YouTube struck their channel down completely for violence against children. This is the stupidity of YouTube. That was a good response. I don't know what I was responding to, but thank you. Are they in charter schools? My daughter's in a charter school. The rest of my kids, well, my daughter's in a charter school. My youngest is in a public school that has a special needs program because he's developmentally retarded, and that is the technical definition. And the other 3 are homeschooled. So that's why they're here all the time. I think he just wants to be on camera, probably. Cure to Crohn's being asymptomatic don't mean there aren't hole in your GI tract. Did you see the thing where Gillette told their primary demographic to stop being rapist massagers? No. There's so much stupidity in this world. This could be a 24-hour channel. I could just be covering stupidity all day long, every single day. There's no lack of stupidity in the world. I could make it entertaining. Just change the name of the channel to How Stupid Is Everyone? Dragon says, IQ tests measure abstract thinking. There are other factors involved. IQ tests measure your capacity to solve IQ tests, says Just Henry. Desiccant says, it is also just the best proxy. It's not intelligence itself. No, it just like, I don't need to get back into this. P-Money says, I have someone who is saying they don't want to go to heaven knowing they're non-believing are not there now. What would you say to him? I would say that they cannot judge who is and who is not in heaven. Only God can judge who is and who is not in heaven. And that I can guarantee you anyone who loves him, who is in hell, would not want him to join them in hell. I mean, the whole parable about Lazarus is that, is someone was just begging for someone to just dip. Someone in hell was just begging for someone to dip their finger in the water and touch his tongue. And then begging them to just go back and tell people, not to go there. Nobody in hell wants to invite their loved ones there. Non-believing parents. Sorry, non-believing parents. Well, yeah, like I said, it's not his place to judge, and they wouldn't want him there. Anyways, I have people I love who I'm sure are not in heaven, but I have people I love who I'm pretty sure are in heaven. Again, I can't judge, but I base it on assumptions. What do you don't get to go pal around in hell with the other people in hell. I'm fairly certain. It's not a party. There's no it's not like the opposite of heaven, just without God. Chapter 5. Notifications worked. Woohoo! The Little Tiny Hand was awesome. Nasser was a really good. Okay, I don't want to get back into talking about Nasser. This is not the Nasser show. Honoring your parents. Artemis Arrow says, honoring your parents is about obeying as long as it isn't wrong and caring for them, especially when they need you the most. Another good way to say it. Another good way to say it. But I think in our culture today, we eschew the whole shame issue in a way that I think is detrimental to our society. You know, in Japan, people don't do things, and granted, it's a different culture, but honor and I don't even know if this still applies today, but it used to be that you don't do things that dishonor your family and your parents. And honestly, that mentality, because it brings shame not only to you, but to your parents, who, you know, it is very shameful for a parent to have a child that goes out there and acts like a little thug or a whore or, you know, just completely ignoring what, you know, because believe it or not, as a parent, if your kid goes out there acting like that, it's because something you did was wrong. I mean, I understand that, you know, you don't bear responsibility for an adult child's behavior, but that doesn't mean that something you did wasn't wrong. They are culpable. But if you have raised them right, then they should know better than to do the things that would shame you. And I know that can be a little offensive to some, especially some of us who have children who do dumb things. But you're supposed to train them when they're kids that there are repercussions and there are things you do and things you don't do, and train them up right so that they do not depart from the path of righteousness and end up doing the dumb things that would bring shame and dishonor to you and your family. You in particular, because people may not say it to your face, but when they know your son has decided to go off and be a drug-addled bum, they are talking behind your back, or at least thinking behind your back, what the heck did they do to screw up their kid so much that they've chosen to be a drug-addled bum, right? I mean, granted, that may or may not always be warranted, but it is what people think, because and if that child had been raised with a modicum of shame, understanding that they should honor their parents even in their adulthood, even with the lives they lead, not making those stupid kinds of decisions because they know they will be an embarrassment to their own parents. You know, wouldn't the world be a better place?
No.
Yes. So much Nasser. So many Nasser comments. And Ben Shapiro comments. Ben Shapiro's wife is a doctor, not a lawyer. Free education couldn't buy by listening to the advice. Oh. Ben Shapiro is still wrong about Trump. What were we doing? What were we doing? All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, but Kendall reminds us, and that is absolutely true. Let's see where we are here. We are 51 minutes. We are going to go a little longer today, just so that my son can clip out some of the stuff. Dragon, everyone is wrong other than me. And Candy Kodiak says, Ben has a pretty good non-biased view on Trump, I feel. Well, we all have bias. We all have bias. My biased view of Trump. See, I had this weird view of Trump where I accepted him for his faults, and I accepted and understood his narcissism, and that's what led me to believe all of his promises. I saw Trump as a guy who believed the things he was saying, right? Be that because of his narcissism, wherein he believed so much that he was right that he believed everyone else should believe that he was right. And so that's why I trusted, even though he, he's an imperfect man. I understand that. I understood that then. And I knew he was not, the greatest moral representative of the human race. He's just a dude. He was not tailoring his life since high school to be president. He was trying to be a successful businessman, and lo and behold, he was. Even though people try to say he wasn't. I'm like, you can't make $5 billion by not being a successful businessman. But anyways, it was his narcissism, which some people see as a character flaw, that caused me to believe and trust in all of his promises. And so many people on the left and the right, including Ben Shapiro, said he's never going to hold all these. He just wants power. He just wants power. I'm like, he doesn't want power. I mean, he might want power, but that doesn't mean he's going to lie to get there, because I think he believes that everyone should agree with him. And to me, I was proven right. And I still hold that to be true about him and his personality. And I still think people like Ben or Doug TenNapel, they still can't accept that. This guy says what he thinks is true when he says it, because, yeah, he's a bit of a narcissist. But in this case, I think that's a good thing, because he's not playing politics with stuff. Now he may be playing I don't want this to get all political. This is not a political show, but yeah, that's why I've always had Trump's back, and it has been borne out that I was correct in my assumptions and my assertions. Proficient, great might be an overson. Proficient might be a better word. Cutting him off from the best. Law reminder that we need Christ. Bitch goes over Enigma says, sometime you should have me on to talk about biblical enigmas. Not on cross examinations. I don't like, because I'd probably end up wanting to debate you about it, and I don't want to turn this into a debate show ever. I don't want to get contentious about anything on this show, but I stream all the time about other stuff, so. Too bad they can't be bridled. Think how awesome a cavalry unit the Rhino Riders would be. I know they did that in Black Panther. It was neat. Yeah. The woolly rhino kind of looks like a massive boar with a horn. It is so funny you said that, Berserker Pride, because that is the description that Marco Polo used about the woolly rhino. He said his face looked like a boar with a giant 3-foot horn on it. And there's more, but anyways. If Jesus comes back riding a unicorn, I'm a laugh. That'd be great. I thought jinn were bad. Jinn are demons. Jinns give monkey paw wishes. Yeah, what story was that? That was an Aladdin. Was that an Aladdin story or just a Arabian Night story? Joseph Meager says the church started as an oral religion. Well, the church started as Judaism. Well, maybe not all, but most of the first Christians were Jews, right? And Christianity was seen as a sect of Judaism that accepted the Messiah. In fact, my wife today still goes by Messianic Jew. She doesn't generally use the term Christian to describe herself. Messianic Jew. She's a Jew who has accepted Christ as the Messiah. And that's who almost everyone in the early church was. And then Paul came and Peter came and started reaching out to the Gentiles. But that was, let's see, Pentecost was all Jews. And that was thousands. 5,000 were added to the church that day. And then it was, post-Pentecost. So yeah, all of the early church, at least, in the start of the first decade after the crucifixion, were Jews, and then the Gentiles were brought into the church. And at some point in Antioch, I can't remember what it was on the timeline, that's when they stopped calling themselves Jews or Messianic Jews or whatever the term was, and they started calling themselves Christians. But prior to that, and prior to the New Testament being written and being passed around, they taught out of the Tanakh. They taught Christ himself on the road to was it the road to Emmaus? I think it was the road to Emmaus when he met with the two disciples. He taught a Bible study about himself solely from the Old Testament, from Adam to Malachi. All of the law and prophets speak of Christ. And so not just Christ, but all of the early church, all of the early Christians, they were using the Old Testament to preach Christ, which is probably why, well, they were all Jews. So, and then grafting them in over time, the epistles, the Gospels were being written, and then they were being published. The earliest extant fragment, I think, is Matthew, and it's a very small fragment, but it was from a codex, which meant a book, which meant it was being published, and it was I believe that it was dated back to like 70 AD or something like that. So within the lifespan of most of the apostles, it was already being published and broadcast. So yeah, no, it wasn't. I mean, the teachings of the resurrected Christ, as a case of what people had witnessed, yeah, that was all oral. Paul himself says, hey, if you don't believe all this stuff happens, go ask around. A bunch of these people are still alive. I mean, that was his. Can you imagine saying that? Like, okay, I mean, give it a timestamp here. You're 20, 25 years away from the resurrection, right? And you're preaching that, gosh, who died 20 years ago? I used to use Elvis with this, but that was a long time ago. Give me an example of someone who died 20 years ago. 1999. I don't know. Pretend somebody famous died 20 years ago, and you're proclaiming that he rose. Michael Jackson. Pretend you're trying to say that Michael Jackson, except nobody saw him die. That's the problem, because I think he's still alive. But say everyone saw Michael Jackson die on stage. He was not just dead, he was beheaded on stage, right? And then you're going around today claiming that Michael Jackson rose from the dead. And in order to justify your claim, you say, ask around. Everybody saw him. There's a whole bunch of people still alive today who saw him rise from the dead. Right? That is the claim he'd be making in order to validate the words he was saying in that day. That's what Paul was saying. It's like, if you don't believe me, ask around. Plenty of people still alive witnessed the resurrected Christ. Kind of a bold statement to make if Christ was never resurrected, right? I think so. At any base. Have we turned scripture into law? Oh, that's a curious question. No. We have turned scripture into scripture, which is that it is morally applicable. But see, law has consequence, right? That is the purpose of law, is to define consequence. So in the law, it says, hey, if you I'm trying to think of specifics. If you commit a sin, A as in example A, sin A, then you must sacrifice a turtle dove or whatever it is. And different sins had different prices, different sacrifices for which you had to atone for those sins, right? So a law begets a consequence, right? For us, the scripture is written on our hearts, and it is a moral guideline. So we try to abide the law, but not because of a consequence, because we're trying not to bring shame and offense to the God we love, right? It's just like a child trying to be good to make his daddy proud. That's what the law is to us today. Rhaegar got no reminder alert. Let me see, where are we? 104. Actually, I think we're about there. Let me answer this one more question, then I'm going to wrap this up. Old Dirt says, I want to know who the giants Nephilim really are, since all the giant skeletons that they found are lost. They weren't lost, they were collected and lost. They were collected and probably destroyed by the Smithsonian. There are articles of there are articles in old newspapers of people finding these giants, like farmers digging up giant graves and whatnot, and stuff like that. And then the local town paper writes this article, hey, Farmer John found a 11-foot giant skeleton in his yard, whatever. And then there are subsequent articles of the Smithsonian came and collected Farmer John's giant. And they said they were going to do a whatever first study, and then they all just disappeared. And then science has tried to make them relegate them to myth, but they didn't manage to get down to Peru, because in Peru, if you check it out, just Google this, it's very interesting. Just Google Peru giant skulls. You'll see a variety of giant skulls they still have today which the Smithsonian never managed to get their hands on. And they're not even quite human. They have different. Just check it out for yourself. It'll be. I'll do another Nephilim show sometime soon, maybe tomorrow. It'll be fun. I'll dig up some reference and whatnot, and we can do that maybe tomorrow. But I do want to thank everyone for being here today. This was a fun show, even though it was very, very interrupted. I am glad people are getting their notifications. It's a rainy day, and I like it. So enjoy your day. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If you have any questions or comments, wait. My son's going to download this video and cut it and re-upload it. And then after that, drop your comments in there, and we will see you next time in cross examinations. God bless.